What if they gave a walkout protest and nobody came? Yesterday was the big day for the Disney LGBTQ plus trolls and their enablers to walk out en masse from Disney to protest Disney's handling of the Parental Rights Act that was just passed by both houses of the Florida legislature. The problem is, ladies and gentlemen, that it was an absolute bust. According to Kamran Pasha and others who have connections inside Disney, it was a total fail. Nobody went. In fact, this article right here from Variety basically said only 75 people stood with their placards out there, and we don't know who these people are. Nobody asked them what part of Disney they worked for. We don't even know if they work for Disney. This is the problem. We've known for years that a certain side of the political equation in the United States rents mobs. Okay, they pay, $20 an hour, $100 a day or whatever for people who don't really do anything else to stand out in front of a building or somewhere with placards. So we don't know who they are. So are they Disney employees? All right, let's say they are. Only 75. When Disney employs literally, I'm not sure the exact number, but let's say over 100,000 people out of 75. Sure. And we all know that this protest was due to large part about moving to Florida, and they're using the Parental Rights Act as a reason why they don't want to move to Florida. I gotta ask why. Of course, in the counties where Orlando is, the sheriff once a year does a sting for child molesters, and he gets at least, upwards sometimes of 10 Disney employees a year. You gotta think about that. Why do these people not want to go to Florida? There's everything that seemed bad for that community was taken out of that bill. So their complaints are invalid as far as I'm concerned. I'm taking the very long, hardcore look at, and a very scholarly look at all this. And I'm pretty much convinced that they don't have a valid argument anymore. Now Florida also passed the Stop Woke Act, which I think is fantastic. There's nothing good about going woke. There's no progress in it. It just demeans everybody. Okay, now let's talk about Pixar. Apparently Pixar is losing top animators to its former boss in his company, Skydance, John Lasseter. Another YouTube channel basically reported that Pixar is being drained of talent by Skydance. And you really can't blame these people for leaving Pixar after what's been going on there. The whining, the bitching, the complaining, wanting to put a same-sex kiss, blah, yuck, in Buzz Lightyear. And Lasseter, who was the brains behind Disney Studios, Disney Animation, Pixar, basically has built quite a brand at Skydance. And I've got to say, if this keeps going on, Disney won't have a reason to keep Pixar. The people that are there right now cause trouble. They don't really put anything of value out there except for morally irrelevant or morally questionable content aimed at little kids. And I've got to ask, why would they keep it? Why? So let's talk about John Lasseter, who is, in my opinion, would have been the heir apparent for Lucasfilm to take over that spot. John Lasseter started at Lucasfilm in digital animation. He's a pioneer of it. And George Lucas sold Pixar to Apple, to Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs then sold Pixar to Disney. And for a long time, Pixar was the Rolls-Royce, the show car, the model of Disney messaging in animation. John Lasseter is a multifaceted, talented man. He's a producer, he's a studio head, and he is a director. And he's a hell of an animator and a hell of a storyteller. But 2018, when Kathleen Kennedy was now on her downward slope of the apex of her I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread female in Hollywood, Kennedy, I believe, this is my opinion, realized that, all right, let me tell you a story. Bob Iger had John Lasseter and Kevin Feige sit in on a conference call between Lucasfilm in England and Lucasfilm in California. And what happened, what it sounded like from what Grace Randolph said, from what others have told me, I mean, Grace Randolph basically confirmed that this meeting happened, that it was chimpanzees throwing shit at each other. Okay, it was bad. It was a food fight that the guys in Animal House would have been envious of. Okay, and after hearing that and then seeing, because I picked Lasseter to take over for Kennedy, I knew it was going to be him, but because it just seemed like it. But then the bullshit railroaded during the height of the Me Too movement that he sexually harassed staffers. All right. How convenient. How convenient. Okay? You got Kathleen Kennedy, whose butt is being kissed by Bob Iger at the time. And this guy, I'm firmly convinced that Iger had him picked, that they were not going to re-sign Kathy to a next contract. And she set Lasseter up. Okay, she figured out who was the weak link in his biography and ran with it. She's conniving. She's not clever, but she's conniving. Okay, you've got to understand. Do not overestimate her like so many do, the black pills. Do not underestimate her. Look at her as who she is. She's a phony. She's a liar. She hasn't done really anything on her own, ever. Okay? She stood on the shoulders of men, and she's a self-proclaimed liberated woman, which is bullshit. The moment she got on her own, she crashed and burned the greatest, most important IP in film history. What a legacy, Kathy. And the truth will come out. People will talk about it eventually. But I believe she set up Lasseter. So now all those animators that worked with him and for him and loved him, who probably didn't believe one word about what was going on, are now going to Skydance. The brain drain, the talent drain at Disney is remarkable. Now what does Bob Iger do? Or what does Chapek do? You got 75 people. We don't know if they work for Disney or not. Let's assume they do. We don't know what studio they work for, if they even work for a studio, out there protesting. We had a Disney town hall for everybody about the move to Florida. And suddenly, the walkout looks like nothing happened. And according to Disney inside employees, it was an absolute total fail. You have to understand, Twitter is not influential anymore. Okay? It's not. Pablo Hidalgo making fucking announcements. Dude, you live in San Francisco, the apex of bullshit in the world. Of course you're gonna do that. You might have some guy dressed up in a pink tutu beat the shit out of you with a rolled up newspaper. That is just, it is what it is. Okay? But there's no influence in Twitter anymore. It's just a activist, a left-wing activist, fascist circle jerk. Okay? It shouldn't be, but the way the companies run, it is. That's what it is. And looking at the fallout of this, the fact that the walkout failed, tells me that Disney employees were saying stuff about what was going on out loud, but weren't going to take part. And the reason why is they want their jobs. Okay, in this day and age, you got to have a job. Okay, all right. Being an ideologue doesn't feed you. All right, and the few people that were really freaking out, like at Pixar and some of the Imagineers, don't realize that they work for a corporate organization that has to make money. And they are the ones that create the product right now that no one wants. At least concerning Star Wars. Okay? At least concerning Pixar. Now, is Chapek going to let Buzz Lightyear crash and burn? Well, as news of this reversal of that same-sex kiss in Buzz Lightyear, which every time I say it makes me want to puke, goes to families all over the place, and there are many organizations that review and rate movies for families. This isn't going to go anywhere. I'm sorry. They could have had a really big deal, but I'm going to give you this, and then I'm going to leave. Not having Tim Allen voice Buzz was the first big mistake. And the second one was adding the bullshit that we've talked about. Okay? And it is going to bite Pixar in the ass. I think this is a good excuse for either Chapek to fire these people or to sell Pixar. And maybe bring Sundance under the fold. Okay? Now, I don't know, maybe Apple or Amazon or Paramount. I don't think Paramount can do anything right, so I'm just going to throw them out of there. But there you go. Okay? The walkout failed. They gave a walkout and nobody came. This is Steph signing out. I'll see you around the galaxy.